Hello everybody and welcome to the very first Sniper Sundays for the community. I hope you're all well and having a great weekend. And for everybody in the UK, I hope that you're enjoying your bank holiday weekend with that extra day off tomorrow. So today I'm going to do basically what you guys will be used to when you watch a normal Sniper Sundays video. But now that it's for you guys and it's not just on YouTube, I am going to be going into obviously a bit more deeper analysis and giving a little bit more insight than normal. And I'm going to go over quite a few more currencies. Now, even though I'm going over, there's quite a lot of currencies to go over. Obviously, there's every currency in the forex market. And what a lot of people are asking me is, what pairs do I trade? Because obviously, last week, the first 2 days, I only showed a certain pairs that I was trading, which was obviously Euro GBP, and we were in GBP USD long, and obviously I mentioned Aussie, USD CAD, and oil. Now, the reason I mentioned them is because that's the only ones that I'm actually looking at the moment. I'm constantly looking at the whole market, basically nearly every single pair, all the major pairs, and yeah, many of the minor pairs. And when a trade comes or a trade setup is available, then I'll bring it to you guys. Then I'll post it within the group on the daily updates, and I'll make you aware of it. But I'm not going to post or give you a video or a breakdown on every single currency pair every single day, because there's no setups on every pair. Sometimes there's only setups on 1 or 2 pairs a day, sometimes 5 or 6 pairs a day. So it varies every day. So every day, what the point of the morning call is for me to basically make a list myself. I analyze the market, then I bring that to the table and basically tell you in the morning, right, these are the best setups for the day. This is what to watch out for, and then we take those trades. Now, if we look at last Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, last Thursday and Friday, it was only 2 days last week, and we still caught a couple of hundred pips, and even more. You can see I brought to your attention Euro GBP, and we're making some pips off that. Brought to your attention GBP USD. Let me just bring that up in front of you guys. GBP USD, great trade, risk free, running in 100 pips profit. And then I also brought to your attention AUD USD and USD CAD. And then I even brought to your attention, where is it, oil. We had that oil long trade on Friday evening. So you can see with oil, we had that 50 pip move up higher straight away. So the trades that I'm bringing to your attention are trades where we're going to see some movement. And I can see the volume and the volume picking up and the movement going to happen in the market, rather than getting stuck into sort of dead trades, not really moving and getting stuck. So yeah, anything I bring to you is what we need to be looking out for that day. Everything else, disregard. Obviously, do your own trading. What I'm here to do is basically be an extra confluence for you guys. I'm going to teach you on a daily basis, like last week when, for instance, the morning star and evening star formations. With this pair here, you see Euro GBP, where I explained about the manipulation spike to the upside. We managed to get that sniper entry there. All these things are teaching you and educating you. So I'm going to be doing that on a daily basis. And I said, I look at everything, I condense it down, then bring that to you. So it saves you time and saves you looking at the market. But obviously, use what I tell you along with your own trading. Always use risk management. Just because it's me, and obviously I've got a high percentage rate of winning trades, doesn't mean that you can then just throw a bigger sort of trade or a bigger lot size than you normally do, or too big for your account. You need to still trade that 1 to 3 risk of your account per trade. I've done a breakdown in the chat about that. Let's just have a look. In the chat, I will put in educational posts along the way in places. There is somewhere along here an educational post. Here you can see the risk reward breakdown. So all type of things like that, you need to make sure that you follow me correctly, because I don't want you to over leverage on one trade and then lose more than you expect, and then be blaming me or anybody else. If you follow me correctly, use 1 to 3% risk per trade. Sometimes we can have 10 trades on at once over the course of 1 or 2 weeks. We've just started. You see, we had 2 trades last week, or there's even 4 or 5 trades I gave last week. So if you have 3% on Euro GBP, which you can see in front of you, if you had 3% on GBP USD, that's 6%. If you bought Aussie, like I said, with 3%, that's 9% running on your account. And then oil, another 3%, and then we had USD CAD. So that's 15% running on your account at one time because we've got 5 trades. So don't go big on one trade and then get stuck in it and then end up losing, because then you're too emotionally attached. One of the main things about trading is to be cool, calm, and collective. If you're too excited about a trade, you're doing it wrong. If you're emotionally attached to a trade, you're doing it wrong. You need to literally have 1 to 3% of your account on per trade and really not care if it hits take profit or if it hits stop loss, because it's not a massive amount to you and you don't mind losing that amount that you set out. That's how trading is done. And then what happens is, when we have an accumulative amount of winning trades over the week, if you had 10 trades, 15 trades over the week, you might lose 1 or 2, but then the other, say if you lose 2 out of 10, then you have another winning 8, and those 8 winning trades of 1 to 3% all add up, and then will be very profitable. Other people obviously don't manage that many winning trades. That's obviously why you're here, because I get those winning trades. So follow me properly and we'll all make money. So let's look at the charts. I'm going to go through quite a few pairs. I'm just going to go over a few things quite quickly on some pairs because there's no point spending too much time. So what I'll just show you, we're just saying I'm not going to spend too much time, because every day I'm then going to bring you the ones that matter the most. So I'm going to have an overview of the market today. But then obviously in the morning, I'm going to bring to you the ones as soon as the market opens and I see what's happening and the movement of the market. Then tomorrow morning, I'm going to then pick out the best ones and then bring them to you again and say, right, these are the ones that we need to look at. So today, Euro USD, just quickly, this is the weekly chart. We can see here we're below this weekly support level. Copy my support levels and resistance levels. You can see here 1.12000. We broke below that, and as I explained, I'll drop down to the lower time frames in a minute. I was expecting this price to come down and tap this support level here. So you can see this on the weekly. We had this bearish engulfing last week, pushing us down. Bearish engulfing of the previous week before, so I was expecting more downside. We had that downside, tapped this low, just went slightly lower. You can see that wick just went slightly lower than that support, and then we rejected and pushed all the way back up to this resistance. So at the moment, you can see we've got a support here and you've got a major resistance here. So we'll drop down to the daily. You can see here we're being restricted by that resistance there. So I'm in no rush to really take a trade on this pair at the moment. You can see if I just put this daily trend line on, we're about to come up and tap this, which I think I mentioned last week. So we've got this support, this double bottom here. It's a lovely place to take a long trade. It happened very, very quickly, quick rejection. Some of you caught this, but it was a hard one to get. And what we can see here is we're coming up to this resistance level, and we're coming up to this resistance of the trend line. So there's 2 resistance levels coming up here. Now from there, I'm going to be watching this pair to see whether we can break above or whether we're going to push lower. Depending on what the news is over the Eurozone and the elections over the weekend, we may see some weakness on the Euro, which will help push the Euro down and actually make those new lows, which we haven't made since, let's have a look on the weekly chart, we haven't made since May 2017. We haven't been down at these levels. So these will be yearly lows if we can push down on Euro GBP. Obviously, a lot of people will see this pin bar sort of on the weekly here and rejecting this level, and we're looking at taking longs. But what we have to do is bear in mind that we have this trend line resistance here, and we have this resistance at 1.1200. So I'm going to be watching to see whether we reject here and push down, or we actually manage to break up to around these levels, come back to retest this as support, and then from that level be looking at taking long trades. So keeping an eye on that. That's on my watch list for next week. Euro GBP, however, obviously loads of us got sniper entries on this last week. So I hope breaking this down really gives you an insight. You can see this 4-hour close below the range. 4 hours candlesticks are very important. They help give you the direction of the market at times. So see, like here, you can see this 4-hour pin bar. When we had that pullback last week, if you had taken a short, when you see this 4-hour close like that, it's a sign to get out, because 4-hour are quite strong and good confirmation. So if you were short here after this 4-hour bearish engulfing, if you took a short, it came down, 10-20 pips, but then spiked all the way back up at the end of that 4 hour, you want to get back out of that. So because you see that big spike, you see the pressure of the bulls pushing all the way back up, and the bears have no power basically. So here you see this nice 4 hour bearish engulfing. We had this 4 hour break close below the resistance, couldn't force our way above. Then we had that 4 hour bearish engulfing. So we're still holding our shorts on that. Hopefully with the news over the weekend, we see a weak euro, and we can break below this level here, and we can come down and look at coming down to 0.8700. If we do break below here, and you're not in the trade, what I would be looking at, which will be a nice trade, so we came down here, being patient, wait for a retest of this level, and then from here look at coming down. Now if we don't, and we break higher than this and break above this level, and our stops get taken out at break even, then we're looking at coming up to 0.6900 and a continuation of a weak pound possibly. If I just go to the daily, the pound has been on a very fast decline here. See 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, however many days there is, just really weak pound, and the euro gaining a bit of strength as well. So at the moment on the daily, you can see we've had that sort of bearish day. Not too convincing with the previous day. We haven't broken out of this range. So I am keeping an eye on this. I am short on this. I think if we can break this level, then 0.8700 is easily achievable, giving us 130 pips altogether. But keeping an eye on that, and we'll keep you updated as always. Sticking with the euro, because a lot of people are asking me about some of the other euro pairs. Euro NZD. So this pair, I think I covered this last week at some point. Basically, this yellow highlighted area here, I wanted to just make aware that where we have broken above this major daily resistance, that there was another possible resistance just above, and so I just mapped that out. But what my thoughts on Euro NZD at the moment, as you can see here, we had this major or this daily resistance, that big spike. So we came up on the daily chart. This is the daily chart. We had 1, 2, 3. This 3-pin sort of daily rejection. This is another reversal sign. So if you want to mark that down and remember that for the future, when you see sort of 3 pins on the daily, there's a nice resistance level, a nice sign that there's a reversal. I'll show you this on oil shortly when we go over that as well. But yeah, nice sort of reversal sign here. This candlestick here, if I just zoom in, this candlestick here, this third candlestick, was a bearish engulfing on the previous day. So a good sign that the bears are taking over, and we're going to have some down movement. And then we had this nice big bearish day on Friday. Now, if I drop down to the 4-hour chart, I'll show you what I'm looking at on this pair. I do think we're coming down. I do think we're coming lower. Sort of broken out of this support level, this support trend here. Sorry, let me just go to the daily chart. Yeah, so you can see we've broken out of this sort of inside 4-hour trend line here. So I'm just having a look at something else that might be coming up here. So yeah, we can see we've had this sort of break of this 4-hour trend line, and we're trying to break out even lower at the moment. I do think we might have one more pullback on this pair, sort of to around this region. So you can see this resistance level here I've already marked out, and also to the top of these. You see this resistance, sorry, let me just map that out. You can see this resistance. So you got that sort of area of resistance that I'm going to be looking out for. We're breaking through that at the moment. But what I might look out for here, because I'm not in this trade myself at the moment, is if we do come a little bit lower, is then coming back up into that area and then looking for a bigger, a faster sell-off down to the lows. That could also work out with some Fibonacci moves. So we come down, something like that. We come down a little bit lower to around here, and then have a move up as a retracement before pushing down further. So I'm keeping an eye out on this. That's an overall view on Euro NZD. I do prefer this pair moving down, but on market open, I'm going to see what happens. We do have a weak euro on market open, then we are going to see this drop down. But I'm keeping an eye on this because I like NZD USD to go higher, which I'll explain in a minute. So with the New Zealand dollar getting stronger, that will help push this pair down. Likewise with Euro AUD. So I'll just show you here, keeping this nice and simple. If I just go to a weekly chart of Euro AUD first, we'll just clear everything off and show you how simple we can make it sometimes. So Euro AUD on the weekly chart sort of have this inverse, oh sorry, not inverse, this head and shoulders here. So you can see this resistance. So we came up and tapped that last week and the week before. So on the daily, you can see here, we're struggling around that resistance level. We've had 1, 2, 3, push up again, really just struggling all around this area. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we've had that bearish engulfing daily candlestick, a little bit like I mentioned on Euro NZD just a minute ago. We drop down to the 4 hour, you can see we're just breaking below that sort of level now. We're using it as support, just tapping it once, twice, 3 times. We've broken below, and now I'm going to be looking at this pair coming lower as well, just like Euro NZD. So I'm looking at anywhere really around this level here, from here onwards, to come back and retest this as resistance. And if we can come back and retest that as resistance, if we break it a little bit lower, come back up at any point, then I'll be looking at taking a short trade from around this level and coming down lower. But as always, I'll keep you updated. I'm going to keep an eye on this pair. But yeah, I do like Euro AUD short. So obviously use that along with your own trading. If you find your own entry, then fine. But yeah, I will be looking out for a short trade on this. I do think that we're going to come lower. We're going to come down and test sort of this level here, and then come down even lower after that. So I'll keep you updated on that. But look for a retest of this sort of support level of 1.16, sorry, 1.6190. And if we fail to break above this again, now that we just broke below it, then I'll be looking at taking a short trade down to around this region. GBP USD, nice trade that we were in. Most of you should be in a long trade on this. You see, I'll just go to the 1 hour. That morning star formation, quite crucial, very useful. This 1, 2, 3 candlestick formation that we had, which will show the reversal sign. Off that, you could just buy after this third candle. You can buy. So you have this bearish, then you have a doji, and then a bullish. Ideally a bullish engulfing, but didn't have that here. But you can see we didn't have much of a wick at the end of this third candlestick. So 1, 2, 3, you can buy off there, and then you're ready to go. Stop loss just below that. So we're in profit now. We've had a few pullbacks as what you would expect, and we're starting to move higher. Entry was at 1.2625, and we hit 1.2725 already last week. So 100 pips in profit. Now, normally when I'm in that much profit, I like to take a good bit of profit off the table and let the rest run, whether it's 50% or 75%. The major moves happen at the moment, and we may see a pullback before the next big move. So if I keep it with the 1 hour, I'm going to get rid of this morning star now. Guys can go back and look back at that on the charts in the group. But what we might see is something like a retest of this support. So this week on market open, we might see the price come down, and we can always gain another entry from this level. So take about 50% profit around this level here. And if we come down here, we can always look at adding a second entry on the third test of this trend line. You can also see the support here, see the support level, resistance, and so we may come down, use that as support one more time, and from there you might see that big push up to the upside. So from here we can always add one more trade, again, which I'll explain within the group. You could look at a trade, something like that, and then aiming to the highs. But yeah, look for that third touch next week. I expect a pullback of some sort. We're not just going to fly to the upside. So yeah, I'll be looking at maybe coming down to test this support level of 1.2685 region, and then could possibly be another long trade on the cards there. If not, and we actually break through this and we start moving down lower, at least you've taken 50% profit or 75% profit, and your stop loss is at break even. But on GBP USD, I am aiming higher at the moment. I've sort of gone open, take profit. We could come a lot higher, So I'm just keeping that open at the moment, and I'll keep you up to date. But if you take your profit at the moment, 50% profit, then this TP, what I like to do is swing trade. So we could be looking at 100, 200, 300 or 400 pips over the course of a few weeks. So take the majority of your profit now, and then we'll see how we go with that next week. GBP USD, quite a clean chart on this one. Just show you here on the weekly chart, we've had a massive drop. 1, 2, 3, big push down, big push down. And what we had here is we had a major support, and we broke through that. So the week before, you see the week before we stopped at that support, looked like we might hold, and last week we had a push up and then a big push down. On the daily chart, you can see that we had that 100 pip move up to the upside, and then we moved down. This is why it's important when you are in a trade to move your stop loss to break even when you're in profit, because you see this spike up. So if you bought down here, you're 100 pips in profit, and then you came down and you got hit your stop loss, that shouldn't be happening. When you're in that much profit, your stop loss should be moved at break even, because if the market comes down and moves against you that much, like you see here, more than likely it's going to keep going the other way. So you don't want to be in that trade. At the moment, we are we've had another bit of a doji day on Friday. We tried to push up higher one more time. So keeping an eye on this. If you see on the 4-hour chart, just looking at price action at the moment, I want to see how the market opens and how it reacts over to news at the weekend. You can see here we've sort of had a 4-hour double bottom at the moment, and we are trying to push up higher. So what I'm going to be looking at is price perhaps coming up to retest the 1.3990 or 80 level, or 85. And yeah, we might start struggling around there, but I am keeping my eyes peeled for possible long trades on this. Even though it looks very bearish, what I'm looking at is the UK, the GBP. I'm looking at the pound getting stronger. So if the pound gets stronger, obviously this is going to have a huge effect on GBP, JPY. But we have to look at the Japanese yen and how that is going to affect this as well. So this is on my watch list. Nothing at the moment. You can sort of see here very choppy around that 4-hour sort of level, and even the 1-hour. I'll just draw a little bit of a range on here. You can see we're sort of within this range. If we go to this, see this support here, support came up, tried to test it as resistance, almost there, resistance, support. So we're creating a little bit of a range here. So keeping an eye on this. We break above, we could come up, tap this resistance and break higher. But this is something that is on my watch list at the moment for the week ahead. Aussie US dollar, something I said to go long on last week. I said to go long on this pullback here. Let's have a look at the 1-hour chart. So we had, let me get rid of this one in a minute. So you can see here we had my weekly support at this level. We've been around the area for a long time. Constantly bouncing off support, 1, 2, 3, try to break through 4, 5. One on the 1-hour candlesticks, you can see price is trying to push down here, big spike back up, pin bar, then some nice bullish action, 1, 2, and then we had a little bit of a pullback, which you need in order to move back up higher on any sort of any trend. If you're going to create a new uptrend, you need to have a pullback first. So from here, you can see on this Fibonacci move, we had that perfect sort of 50%, 61% Fibonacci retracement. So I explained last week in the morning call to look for a long on this trade. So we were around this level, then we had that 1-hour bullish engulfing, and there was a nice place to take a long trade, and even if you had your stop loss there, but I did explain to have it slightly lower, just below these lows. At the moment, we're running in good profit on Aussie dollar, but we have just seemed to have reached a peak. If you remember what I said about morning star formations and evening star, this is a perfect evening star formation here. 1, 2, 3. Bullish candle, doji, and a bearish engulfing. So I am expecting from this level here to see price reverse back to the downside slightly. Again, as you would expect on any uptrend or downtrend, there has to be ups and downs. So if you're in profit and you see it coming down, don't get worried, because in order to go back up again, your profit's going to have to go down in order to go back up again, even though it can be very hard to watch, but it's just part of trading. and a part of the emotion that you need to get used to. That's why do not over leverage and do not trade too big for your account, because if you're in a long on this trade and you're in good profit here, this comes all the way down to sort of these regions here, you're going to be sort of shitting yourself thinking, oh no, this is going to hit my stop loss. Why didn't I take my profit? I was in good profit. Why didn't I do this? And then you start doing silly things. Whereas if you have 1 to 3% per trade, you might be 60, 70 pips in profit. You take a little bit of profit off. When it comes down, you might see another opportunity to take a long, and you're not worried about the market moving against you. Now on this, you can see here I've got this sort of 4-hour trend. Aussie dollar likes to make a sharp move back, I find, before making a move higher, from experience. So I would expect this to sort of have a move down before going higher, if any. We can see here we have just reached a resistance level here. In this long downtrend on the 4-hour, I have to go to the daily to actually show you it. You can see here this downtrend here. In a downtrend or uptrend, we have lower highs and lower lows, or lower lows and lower highs. We've got lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. This was the last lower high, and we haven't created a lower low. So in order to invalidate, this is very important, guys, if you write this down, when you're in a downtrend, in order to invalidate the downtrend, you have to break the last lower high. So for instance, this is a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. We didn't make a lower low here, but see how the lower high is below this lower high? If this lower high broke above this lower high, this whole trend would be invalidated. So we made a new lower low. We've got a lower high here, a lower low, or an equal low, and then we're trying to make a new lower high, but we haven't made that yet. It's just an equal high. You can see those two wicks are just ended together. So in order to invalidate this whole 4-hour downtrend, we need to break and close above that level, and if we do, then long trades are valid once again. At the moment, I have this sort of 4-hour shooting star, which is why I think we're going to have a bit of a pullback. Whether we pull back to then go higher, or whether we pull back and go lower, that's something we need to keep an eye out for. So take about 50% profit on that trade at the moment. Stop losses are at break even. I think we're about 82. So we had a good 50 pip profit on that so far. And what I'll be looking out for this week is this pair coming down to sort of these. Let me just highlight it. Coming down to sort of this region as a retracement. We might break through this trend line, make people think that we're taking a short, and then pushing them back up to the upside. So if we're not in this trade yet, there's still an opportunity to come. But yeah, I do think that we're going to come down and retest sort of this level around here, this region. I think we might break this counter trend line, so make people think we're going to be taking a short trade, and then actually reverse to the upside. So I'll keep you updated on this. If you're not in this trade, do not jump in it until I update you. But I do think that we will have a bit of a pullback first and give us that opportunity to take another long trade. So I do prefer Aussie dollar to move to the upside, and I do like New Zealand dollar to move to the upside. Now just quickly, as I expect AUD USD, or I expect Aussie to get stronger, the Australian dollar, and I expect the New Zealand dollar to get stronger. That's why if we go back to Euro AUD, I expect this to move down, because the Australian dollar will get stronger and push this down. Now, if we look at Aussie dollar, we can see that I'm expecting a pullback first. So the Aussie dollar to maybe get slightly weaker before getting stronger. So that would also mean that if the Aussie dollar got weaker, Aussie dollar is going to get slightly weaker here as well first. Therefore, lining up for that pullback to sort of this region before the bigger move down. So remember, that just is explaining how currencies on one trade will affect currencies on another trade. So looking at different currencies, you can see how they're affecting the market against different currencies, and that will just make you understand how they are working. So yeah, that's a sort of setup on Aussie I'm looking at the moment. New Zealand dollar, sort of a similar situation. We've had if I just move away this trend line, we had this support that we were hovering around for quite a while. This is one support, this is the next major support. We were hovering around here, we came down, tested it, then managed to break through, looked like we were going to pull back up, but then we fell through and sort of trickled down day by day to make these lows. Then down here, nice clean price action. You can see that nice big bullish engulfing candlestick on the previous day, showing that the bulls were in town and about to pull this higher. On the 4 hour now, just like I said previously on Aussie dollar, obviously we have higher highs and higher lows, but we have now broken out this trend. This was sort of the last lower high, but this is the main lower high. So at the moment, you can see we're starting to slow down slightly on New Zealand dollar. So what I'll be looking out for on New Zealand dollar is similar to Aussie dollar, is to pull back here first, retest this trend line, and if we can reject that and show and find support, then we move higher. So what I think again is we're going to come down similar to Aussie and retest this sort of region, this region here. And yeah, if we can reject this level once more, then we can move to the upside. We might just widen that slightly. So what I want you to look out for is when we get to this sort of level, is look for a pullback, look for rejections, look for price action rejection on the 1 hour or the 4 hour, things like the morning stars that I explained to you, or pin bars on the 4 hour like I explained on, let's see, Euro GBP. See this pin bar on the 4 hour? Anything like that is a good reversal sign of that the market's going to change. So we'll just go back to New Zealand dollar. If I get the Fibonacci, you can see that we might have made a high here. We might come down, sort of test this level, the 50 or the 61% retracement levels, and from there, once we start to see weakness and possible bullish reversal signs, then we can jump into the market and get a nice entry. So I'll be looking out for that. USD JPY, looking at longs on this last week. Currently we're starting to break through this trend line. Whether it's going to be a breakthrough or not, we'll have to wait and see. But what I'm looking for is we've had this initial breakthrough this trend line with this candlestick, which isn't, this candlestick here was a bit of a doji, wasn't too convincing. I'm just creating a support level here, and I'm going to be watching that now on market open. So see here, I'm going to be watching this 1 hour on market open. Had this nice 1 hour pin bar showing some rejection. If we get more rejection around here, then I'll be looking at maybe adding another long with the stop loss at the same region, just maybe about 30, 40 pips lower. If we manage to break lower than this, then I might cancel this trade completely and get out. But I do think in any case, we might just see a pullback on this from around these levels up to this trend line. And whether it's, we are in a downtrend and we're going to roll over, we'll see that rejection around there, or if not, we'll see a push higher. So that's what I'm looking out for on USD JPY at the moment. USD CAD, I'm going to finish this up soon. There's a lot of pairs and probably too much to for you guys to cover. That's why I'll just update it on a daily basis so it doesn't get too much for you to take in. But USD CAD, still liking move to the downside. You guys should be in a short trade from that from last week, from my analysis. Still like a move to the downside. I would take profit at the bottom of this sort of range. If we're not in this trade at the moment, I'd stand aside because we're right in the middle of that range and we could push back up to the top of it again. I would only recommend getting into this trade if we come back up sort of towards the top. So yeah, maybe just stand aside on that, but I do prefer USD CAD to come down and test the bottom of these lows, and hopefully this will be the week we can get out of this sort of mess of this consolidation zone and break down lower. US oil is the last thing I'm going to look at. You guys see how great this commodity can be. We made, or I made, and a lot of you made about 600 pips from the top, but a lot of you made a lot of pips from this $63 a barrel area. And earlier I said I'd show you something that I meant on oil about the daily and how good the daily can be. That's why I'll be doing a market review every evening, because the daily candlestick is so important to show you what's happening. So see here, when I kept sort of banging on about coming down to $60 a barrel, which was at this level here, sorry, around these levels here, so you see it perfectly there. Then I was expecting that retest of $63. We had that here, came down, made some money, then we came up again. So $63 a barrel, this yellow highlighted zone here. So you can see now on the daily chart, that sort of 3-pin candlestick again, 1, 2, 3, and even a 4th. So shooting star, shooting star, shooting star, 3 shooting stars there in a row. That is like, basically, and it's beautiful to a trader. That's what you want to be seeing. Something like that, it just makes it very, very easy to see what's going to happen next. 1, 2, 3, 3 shooting star candlesticks off and around that $63 region. And then afterwards, then bang, bang, and the biggest decline on oil in a week since, I think, since last December. So, but then don't be fooled. This can turn around very, very quick. That's why I perfectly called this move on Friday. Now, a couple of you messaged me late Friday evening when the market was just about to close. I said, look, don't place the trade because we're going into the weekend and we had 1 hour before the market closed. So I said, do not jump in. But for those who actually took the trade earlier in the day, after I explained it, you can see there was a 3 o'clock candlestick here. Just go down to 30-minute, 15 there. If you flick through the time frames, see this 1, 2, 3, the sort of morning star formation on the 15-minute. So you can see here then on the 4-hour, big spike to the downside, similar to these pin bars. I've got to flip back one more time. See this pin bar for Euro GBP to show you that the market doesn't like that level and it's pushing away. Again, I had that pin bar here, and we had that 4-hour bearish, bullish engulfing. So I do like oil to come up higher next week. So yeah, if you're in that short trade, you should be out by now. You can see that 1, 2, 3. We hit my extension and we hit my take profit levels. So I am looking at this coming up. See double bottom here on the 4-hour. So 1 rejection, 2 rejection. Now I'm expecting this to move up. This could just blow through the roof with oil, because oil can move like crazy. Or we might just come up and test this sort of support level here around the 60 region. And then from that level, we might just do something similar like we did around $63. And then and just roll over to the downside again. So you can see these sort of steps we're making. Support, resistance. Support might be resistance, and then we'll come down, break through support and make a new one. So market structure there, nice and simple. We had a couple of really nice Fibonacci moves there. Remember this one originally, A, B, C, D, and then we had a new one with A, B, C. So if I just put that on properly, you can see that daily rejection, 1, 2, 3, 4, all around the 61.8% rejection, then broke through and hit the Fibonacci extension. So yeah, I'm looking for this to come up higher. Again, that's just the overall view that I have on the market this week. So make your markings down, keep a lookout for it, but then I'll update you each morning and tell you what we're actually looking for that day and the most important things. So you should pick up a few tips and tricks that I've just told you there. There'll be more and more each day. I'll be making them more obvious, and I'll give you educational posts as well. Have a great weekend. Tomorrow's a bank holiday in England. It's actually my birthday tomorrow, so that's not why they made a bank holiday for it in the UK, which they should have. But no, it's it's my birthday tomorrow. I'm going to be chilling out. But no matter what, I'll be bringing you the market updates and the morning call in the morning, as always, each and every day, no matter what. So have a great weekend. Have a great Sunday, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.